I wanted to talk a little bit more about magic and things that are possible with the human body. So this stuff happened to me when I was with the Greek gods, and the Greek gods were Elohim being. They were giant beings from the past. Um, to my knowledge, they weren't Anunnaki. I think the Anunnaki would like I know Odin, like although they could have been, but I only witnessed Odin wearing one of the Anunnaki helmets with like the horns on them. I never saw the Greek gods with helmets on like that, so I think that they were a different race of giants that were here on Earth. And if you think about the ancient times, like the Greek gods and the Roman gods, to my knowledge, were the same gods. Like the Roman gods, um, Rome adopted the name Apollo, and all of the other 12 or the other 11 members of the original Olympiad or the Greek pantheon were different names, but to my knowledge, they were the same beings. But if you think about like the border war between northern Italy and northern Greece, they were fighting. They were fighting these more Norse and like German. They were fighting Germanic tribes, which were more Norse. Um, I'm guessing that these different the Greek gods, that type of giants, they were in command of Greece and Italy, and they were fighting these Anunnaki gods, which they fought astrally as well as they fought physically with human armies. But what I was getting at, back to I'm getting sidetracked so fast, but what I was getting at is I was inside of these Greek gods ship, and I experienced some crazy shit. Like they were telling me that I was a ninja, and I watched a lot of Naruto growing up. And I went on this like crazy escapade, like adventure to Japan one time, and I kept having the thought that I was Naruto's dad, like in when I was in Japan, and lo and behold, they tell me like. So the first time that it happened, they told me that I was Zeus, and I started running, and I saw this portal open up in front of me when I was thinking I was Zeus. Um, Back to Naruto in a second, but I was thinking that I was Zeus, and this portal kind of opened up in front of me, and I was like, holy shit. I was like running, and I was like, oh my god, I'm like slowing down time right now. And I was, because I found out later when I was thinking I was Naruto's dad that I could. And uh, but they told me that I ran faster than the speed of light at the time, which I don't know if that was true. But when I basically clocked myself later, I'll explain that in a second. But yeah, I ran really really fast because I saw this portal open up in front of me, and I guess the way that you do that is by I don't even. Probably should, but you your pineal gland has to be fully awakened, and you open up a portal in front of you, asking source, and you have to do it without doubt, in your mind. Um, but yeah, so that happened with Zeus first, and another thing that happened with Zeus one time is that I swear to God, I walked on water. Like, please don't think that I'm Jesus or anything, but I think any ascended master could probably do it if they have enough like divine belief, and they ask source for the ability. But I didn't like walk on water, but I took one step onto water, and it was very, very shallow, but I swear to God, my first step that I took onto this lake, it was like a solid step onto, it felt like stepping onto ice, and that was pretty crazy. The whole point of this is not to like toot my own horn or whatever and say I'm like fucking amazing. It's just to open up your imagination to what is humanly possible. And I'm not a god or anything by any means. I'm just on my way to becoming an ascended master, and I'm a fractal of Archangel Michael. But anybody can do things like this themselves. It just takes belief in yourself more than anything, and like knowing that you can. And I want to tell everybody out there that you can do these things. And who knows, maybe we'll have the ability to fly one day. I know that teleportation is probably real at some level, because these ascended masters talk about just materializing their body out of nowhere. So if you knew how to move all of the electrons and molecules and everything inside of your body faster than the speed of light, you would basically dematerialize your entire body, and you would be in the sixth dimension. So in that sense, you could do that, go into the sixth dimension, and go fly and open up a portal to wherever you wanted to go to that location, and then materialize your body again, and you would basically teleport your body. So back to Naruto. I was thinking I was a ninja for a while. It was fucking cool, but I was alongside the highway, and they told me to walk out into traffic, and I had divine belief at the time. Like, I totally could have got hit by a car, but I had divine belief at the time, and I just walked in front of these cars going like 50 miles an hour, and I didn't even look at them, but I saw them out of the corner of my eye, and like time slowed down. Like, I went into this time warp where time slowed down, and these cars just stopped. Like, not stopped, but like went to a crawl. And it wasn't like they didn't screech on their brakes or anything, but it like time slowed way down. And I guess I should be thanking the Greek gods for not killing me, because they were manipulating the shit out of my mind at the time. And unless some other higher power stepped in and said no to me dying that day, it was the Greek gods. Okay, interesting. Michael's saying that he intervened that day, and I definitely would have gotten hit by a car if he didn't. But I don't think that's cool, but it just crossed my mind when I was thinking about it. But that, in that sense, I know that time warps are definitely a real thing. And the next part was really crazy. I like ran, I like Naruto ran across the street in front of these cars, and I knew I was slowing down time and like running really fast. And then I went back across the street, and then these cars going like 50 miles per hour, I started running next to them. And I saw the portal open up in front of me again, and this car was like slowly, it was going 50, but it was like slow, it was like barely going faster than what I was running. So if that gives you any idea how fast I was going, it's pretty dope. Like, I opened up a time warp in front of me, and I was probably running about like 40 miles an hour or 45 miles an hour, which is way faster than anyone can run technically. I think the 100-meter dash sprinters run like 32 miles an hour or something like that. But I was going at least that, because these cars in front of me, but to in my perspective, I was just running like as fast as I would normally run. But because this time warp was in front of me, I was really running like 45 miles an hour by doing that. And yeah, like, again, in my perspective, I was probably only running like 20 miles an hour, like a normal person could, like a slight. a slightly athletic person could run. But because that time warp was in front of me, I was running faster. Yeah, so that was really cool. Another like very crazy magical thing that happened to me is one day I was sitting in Boulder, Colorado, and this was Archangel Metatron, and I was thinking that I was a fractal of Michael at the time, and so I was in the frequency of Michael, meaning I was free of all like these gods and goddesses, because I was in the frequency of Archangel Michael. But I was sitting with a friend of mine in Boulder, and all of a sudden the sky went dark. Like the sun was definitely above the mountains, but it was like there was like a 2 hour time gap that happened to me and my friend when we were sitting there. Like seriously, and he didn't believe it. He was like, "No, no, the sun just went down," and the amount of light switch that happened. And I remember hearing telepathically Archangel, like it was something about Archangel Metatron, and then all of a sudden like the world turned, and it was like 2 hours later in the day. But the sun went down like instantaneously, and it was the craziest thing. So if you think about the power of an archangel being able to turn the whole earth, and make this massive time warp and time gap happen, like the archangels are very, very powerful is what I'm getting at. But yeah, that was really cool. The last thing I want to talk about is this thing that happened to me, and I think I was talking with Source at the time, or talking with Father, and I was driving in the rain, and then it was like pouring rain on my car, but I look over to the lane beside me, which was going the opposite direction, and the all the rain just like stopped, and I saw this like square, like this rectangle air space where the rain was hitting, but it was like this dematerialized spacecraft or something that was in the shape of a rectangle, that was really long. It was like as long as the lane on the other side of me, maybe like 100 yards or so. But the rain wasn't hitting the ground there. It was just hitting like the top of this like layer of whatever, this layer of magic. The rain was just hitting the top of this thing, this I don't know if it was a spacecraft or if Source just had this barrier of energy, that wasn't allowing the rain through. But the rain was pouring down and hitting the concrete in front of me while I was driving. But on the other side, it was just hitting the top of this what was seemingly a rectangle shaped three-dimensional object, or three-dimensional space that was, it was just hitting the roof of it, and it was the craziest thing. I had another time dilation happen. I guess that I said that was the last thing, but this just popped in my head. I had another crazy time dilation where, but this one I was on LSD. All the other ones I wasn't on anything. This one I was on LSD, and I was with my two best friends, and we had tripped LSD the whole night, and I had walked away from them, and again there was like these portals opening up in front of me, and I was walking through these portals. Well, I go on this like trip, like acid trip adventure away from my friends, and then I came back, and I saw they were standing right where I left them, but there was like this translucent white cube, and I think I might have talked about this in some of my previous videos, like a long time ago. But there was this translucent white cube, and to my knowledge, it was some sort of spacecraft. But this translucent white cube, or white rectangle shaped cube, not, I guess it wouldn't be a cube. It was like this rectangle, but it had rounded white edges, and it was see-through, but you could see the aura that was white, and like it didn't have sharp corners on it. It was kind of like bubbly shaped. But I walked through the barrier of this bubble, and all of a sudden the sun came up. It was like another time gap of like, this one had to be like two, probably an hour or two, because yeah, probably an hour or two, because the sky was like completely dark. And then I walked through this cube, and the sun was up like immediate, like in the course of like 1 second. I walked through the barrier of this cube, and the light and the sun was up. And I didn't even say anything to my friends at the time because they wouldn't have believed me. They're like not, they don't believe in any of this stuff like I do, so I didn't even say anything to them. And we were tripping on acid still, so that was a really crazy thing that happened. But all the other stuff that happened, I wasn't on any kind of drugs or anything. So yeah, it's crazy stuff. But I hope you like this video. Give me a thumbs up, guys. Peace.